Hello there. This is SloMoBackSlap of the DPS community, and I'm here with my good friend, my co-host, Gaming Forte, aka Nautical, aka the Death Stranding newfound fan, and we are here for episode 237 of the DPS podcast. That's damage per second. Okay, I'm sorry. Stop. I apologize. I was trying to do my DJ voice. I was trying. We are back on the fine Thursday night, feeling all right. And today is going to be a funny day. As always, it's interesting how I can predict when we'll get dislikes on the video on the stream, Forte. If it's going to be negative or negative news to a particular demographic, there's dislikes. I know they're coming. And I just realized I cut off the topics list. Let me see if I can get this. There it is. Ha! I'm just saying, if you're a little faint at heart and you don't like honesty and objectivity in your gaming content consumption, you may want to take yourself to an echo chamber podcast, because tonight you're not gonna be very happy. And that's all I gotta say. Forte, how have you been, sir?
Man, I've been good. I've been real good. Just catching up on a bunch of stuff. Had my wife has her friends and stuff in town right now, so it made me reorganize my game room and the base. You know how it is when you got people coming over. It's like, make sure you have all that cleaned up, bro.
Yeah, I was like, clean up.
I was like, first of all, what they got to do with them coming down here? They don't have to come down here. I said the things that should look good all the time are the things that people can see all the time. But that's okay. It gave me an excuse to go through and redo stuff in the basement. So I did that, and then I actually was talking to my neighbor. He went, he's 80 years old at this point, retired and all this stuff. Used to have I think he had a 65 Chevy Corvette, and he got to the point where he just couldn't work on it no more. So he went out and said, I'm about to go. He said, listen, I'm about to get a car that I don't. He said, if something goes wrong with it, I can take it to them. This man pulls up in a 2014 Chevy Camaro, bad looking thing. I was like, oh my God, sitting flat to the ground on it. So I was talking to him in that. So he took me for a drive in it, and I was like, oh my God, this is wild. And we were talking about it. So he's going to get me into golfing. So I didn't turn it to.
Oh, really?
Dog. He was like, because him and his wife went this morning. We were talking about it. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, I went to the range before and Top Golf and stuff like that, but never walked the actual drive or a what's the name? And he said, yeah, you can go out there with us one day. I was like, oh shoot, I'm being indoctrinated to golf. It's it's about to get real. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was going to ask you what you've been playing.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to get into. So outside of that, I ended up picking up Cyberpunk for the Switch 2, and I said I wasn't going to do it.
Everyone is buying Cyberpunk on the Switch 2. It's the number 2 game sold on the Nintendo platform.
I don't know
in the month of June.
I don't know why.
I can tell you why.
I kept telling myself I'm not going to do it. But I saw it and I was sitting there. I had a little store credit left over from when I was buying my Pokemon. So I said I had because the thing is they had us limited to one of each item. And I was sitting there okay, well, I still got $53 left. And I was like, and I was like, man, you know what? Let me just Cyberpunk on the go. I was like, I don't have a Steam Deck, so it's I'm not going to go buy a Steam Deck just to do it. and I'm not going to wait till the new Xbox handheld, the ROG Xbox comes out. So I was like, I could just buy it now and play it on the go. And then
you could just play it on your PC, right? With like path tracing on. You got a 4090 soon to have a 5090, and you could just, you could play it at like quadruple frames per second, path tracing. I can't
carry that with me.
Deep learning, anti-aliasing, and all that.
I can't carry that with me though. So, no,
you can do both, man. It's got cross save.
I have Cybertalk on my PC. I
know you do. That's what I'm saying. So like,
wait, did you say it's cross save on it? Even with Switch?
Yeah, they implemented. So remember when Google Stadia was going down?
Yeah, I remember that.
And there were people who were like, "Oh man, like I've got a gazillion hours on Cyberpunk on Google Stadia, and now it's all about to go away." Mm-hmm. And when Google gave I think they gave 6 months to a year notice ahead of time, they were shutting it down. CDPR implemented their cross save then, and it allowed people to be able to move their game save. So what it does is your most recent auto save and your most recent manual save, as long as you have linked your accounts on other platforms to the CDPR account, all that stuff gets saved in the cloud and you can play. This is how I've moved characters from my PlayStation and my Xbox to PC. Mm-hmm. And so I'll start them on Xbox and PlayStation, get trophies and achievements and stuff. And I'm doing that because, and this will be easier for you because you only got one save, but I got like a gazillion characters, and the way and I've said this multiple times, the way their file structure is set up is really unorganized. It's terrible. I'm surprised that they allowed it to be like this, but everything is in one directory. All your saves for all your characters. You make a new character, the only thing that tells you is different from another character is the origin and the hours. And so I use now, because I got multiple characters, more than 3, so of course I got multiple characters that may have the same origin. Now I gotta really look and be like, how many hours is this one? Okay, that's that character. And there is a mod that can allow you to put a custom text in file save, so you could be like, this is this character or this is that character. But I gotta also install a dozen mods just to be able to do that, and I'm just too lazy for that, so I'm not doing it. So but for you that'll be much easier, because you could take your PC playthrough, play it on PC, and then if you on the go, you're at work, pull out your Switch 2 and play the exact same. All you gotta do is just, instead of hitting continue, you just hit load save, and you will see a cloud icon beside the 2 auto save and manual saves that are in there, and there you go. Just FYI. But you bought it. Have you played it on Switch yet?
I did. I started yesterday.
Oh, so you started a new playthrough?
Yeah, I just booted. I booted it up to. Well, I booted up while I was at work just to see if there was any updates or anything. Which everything's on the disc. It was like a update for it, but it didn't have to install anything other than just update. Yeah.
The only thing I think might be a hiccup is that they just updated to update 2.3 last week. The Switch is a little behind because it just came out. So they're still on 2.2. And so I don't think you can do cross save with the other platforms for Switch 2 right now. But I believe they said when the Switch is going to get it. Let me double check when that is, but it's not going to be a very long period for you to wait. But you can just play it on the Switch, and then once the update's there, then you can move that over to PC too. Anything else, man?
Nope, that's it. I mean, just pick that up and Still playing through Donkey Kong, of course, which is really, 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 really good. I can't wait to actually get to the end of that. But for the most part, it was just going through stuff that I've already had. And I will tell you that I was talking to a couple of my friends that play Death Stranding, and he asked me how the game. He said, how did your stream go? And I said, oh man, I'm gonna have to send you the link. And I was like, you know what? Matter of fact, no, I'll pull it up on my phone right now and let you see how terrible it was me falling in water, bro. I had like 6 people. we have to break this out into a short. We had like 6 or 7 people, just sitting around on my phone right before when we was I had picked the ladder up. It was like, oh, that's not going to work. And then I was like, oh, give me my ladder. And then I said, oh, I can make it. I hit the button. It's like, oh, I can make it across this river. And my friend was like, he said, bro, your stamina is getting real low.
Okay. Correction. Correction. 2.3 update for Cyberpunk is now available on the Switch too. It was only like a few days behind. So
okay, yeah. So
my
he
bad.
said,
go ahead and continue.
No, he said, man, your stamina is getting real low. And then he started seeing a wobble. And he was like, oh, it's over. And then I just fell in just my reaction, like, no, my packages. And then you were like just dying in the background, laughing. He said,
I gotta make that clip and put that up on the channel because that was hilarious.
He was like, he about to fall again. He just kept falling. Man, it was so fun. I mean, I even talked to when I was on IOP last week. I talked to King about it, and I said, no, man. I said, honestly, the game is fun. It's not something that I can see myself wanting to like.
Hold on. Huh? And I knew you was going to do this.
Yeah.
I knew you was going to do this.
Yeah.
You said, I'm a stream tomorrow. I'm gonna stream it more, and you ain't do
no.
that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the plan was to stream it some more. Because I'm still going to stream it again because I feel like I want to get into the part of the game because when last time I streamed it, Gregor was like, yeah, you're getting real close to
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but listen, it's been a lot of stuff. I had my inventory at my store the week before, and then this
so you had inventory for 2 weeks.
No. I had inventory at my store the week before, and then.
But hold on. By the way, Forte, what happened to, hey man, let's play something tonight?
I have no.
I'm just highlighting. Exactly. I'm just highlighting that you do this all the time.
And I was up to 4 o'clock in the morning last night. Don't know why. Wasn't even doing anything. I was just up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Could have been streaming. Could have been late night DPS streaming, late night sharpshooters, playing Death Stranding, not knowing what the heck is going on. That could have been you, man. But you chose to just be staring at the wall or something, or
no,
watching.
I was sitting up. No, I wasn't watching anything. I was sitting upstairs we were sitting all at the table, and next thing I know, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I need to go to bed. Work at 10 o'clock in the morning. But no excuse. But go ahead, SloMo. That's it for me.
All right. So for myself, what I got on the Jumbotron right now is Dark Deity 2, and it's I'm about a good 45 hours into the game now. It's really good. Like, it was good to start out. Now it's like it's getting really good. Like, people are dying. The story is popping off. It's getting it's very underrated game. I'm so glad I started playing this, and I kind of started playing it simply because I wanted to play some Fire Emblem, man. And this is similar to Fire Emblem, although I would say it's not as difficult. It does have some difficult battles, but difficult in a different way. Like similar to if in Fire Emblem, if the main character dies, then like the mission's over, but there is no rewind feature, and like you have in Fire Emblem. So if the main character dies, You just gotta start the entire battle over again. It doesn't matter if you were in that battle for like 30 minutes.
That's terrible.
It's but it's not like, it doesn't happen very often, but they do give you like challenge missions where you'll only have like 4 to 5 of your units, and you gotta do something that's like extremely difficult. Like the objective to finish the to win is something really difficult, or you'll have situations like the last mission I did. It's not the one that's on the screen; it's the one after it. It was like way too many enemies for what I was dealing with, in the way the battlefield was situated. Like I died like a few times, mostly because of my main character dying. But when I finally did win it, like I think the most you normally go in is like 10 units. I had like 4 units left. Like that was like my worst battle of losing 6 people. But I like the challenge to it, although it's there is no permadeath. So if you lose a unit in battle, it's not like in Fire Emblem they're dead, like it's over for them. And this game, what will happen is they'll have like a severe injury that you have to carry into the next chapter, and so it would hinder them as they go forward. So like if someone goes down, they'll be like they got a broken ankle. Now like their range of movement is like cut in half or whatever. It's not, they can't move as far as they normally could. So it's there are penalties for losing units, and you kind of mitigate that if you have a character that can revive them. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good so far. I kind of want to try the first game when I finish this one, but then I heard the first game wasn't as good as this one, so maybe I probably won't. And there's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct coming soon, so if they show Fire Emblem, I'm definitely not gonna play the first one because I'm just waiting for them to show
Metroid. That's all I need to see.
Yeah, because I heard that's been rated in Korea, I think. So now like that seems to be coming out pretty soon, and they're gonna do a Direct showing that as well.
Metroid.
You know, it is Nintendo Switch 2 units everywhere. Like, how many do you have at your stores?
Right now, at my store, like over 20.
20? So someone could just come in off the street and just buy one.
Yep.
I was in Best Buy today, waiting. My son had a summer camp kind of thing, and I had some free time. As I was waiting to go pick them up. So there was a Best Buy. I went to the Best Buy just looking at stuff that if I bought, I would get queued out for. So I was just looking at it, right? And then as soon as I walked in, they were just like big signs saying, "Hey, we got Nintendo Switch 2. Come to the front desk if you want it." And I'm like, this is like the third time. Because like earlier this week, it was just notification after notification. Best Buy has Switch 2s. Walmart got Switch 2s. And I'm like, staying strong. The FOMO will not get me. If I bought it, it would sit in the box. And I would not, if anything, I would set it up and mess around with it for one day. And then it would do nothing. Because I just don't have a use for it until Fire Emblem comes out. And my daughter is she's got a Switch OLED. Sorry, not Switch OLED, Switch Lite. And she wants my Switch OLED. And she's all like, if you get the Switch 2, you give me the Switch OLED. And then you do that. And then yeah, you're right. And then she's like, and then you can buy me some pink Joy-Cons. And I'm like, sweetie.
She working you, bro.
Right. So I'm like, you don't need a Switch OLED. In her history, breaking her TV, breaking her laptop, I'm like, Switch Lite is your speed. Them Joy-Cons gonna be broken in less than a month with her. Anyway, been playing Fortnite Blitz Royale with my boy Numsy. We was getting chicken dinners like crazy. a couple of days ago. Shout out to him. We were supposed to get back on yesterday, but yesterday was kind of a bust. But shout out to him. Blitz Royale was doing good, and it looks like typically what Epic does is they introduce a mode, and if it really catches on, they extend it.
Yeah.
And then if it really continues to catch on, it ends up becoming a permanent mode. And Blitz Royale was initially getting more, because you could always see like how many people are playing which mode in Fortnite to kind of let you know whether you even want to bother, because there's not enough players in there or not. And he was when I've been seeing is that basically when it first came out, it had more players than Zero Build and the regular Fortnite Battle Royale. Now it's kind of like maintained, so like the hype is down among people who play Fortnite, and now it's just kind of like it's around the same like level of players that the other ones have. So yeah, they extended it, and then now it seems they've extended it again to like January. So they basically extended it for the rest of the year, which when they do that, it's gonna be permanent. It's gonna end up being a permanent thing. So that's good, because I ain't trying to go back to Zero Build. Zero Build's boring at this point. Blitz Royale is where it's at, so I'm good with that. And also I've played No Rest for the Wicked again, mostly because it was a topic, but I hadn't played it since launch, and I kind of wondered like if they fixed some things, because at launch I really wasn't enjoying the experience, and I'll have more to say about that later, but because that's definitely a topic for tonight. And the last thing, since you was talking about Cyberpunk, yeah, man, I did all the quests, the new quest stuff that they added with 2.3. I started another character. This one is like all shotguns and explosions. It's just everywhere. It's just shotguns and explosions. And I think I'm now nearing the end. What I'm gonna do is 100% it on Xbox, 100 platinum it on PlayStation. I think I'm finally gonna just let Cyberpunk rest until they come out with their DLC, which, since Virtuous is working on that should be sometime. Not soon, but they'll probably be announcing it, sometime soon. But I'm gonna let Cyberpunk. Once I do that, and it should be probably another 2 weeks for me to get all that done, then I'm just gonna let Cyberpunk rest and play some other stuff. Cause I've been on my RPG kick, man. Like ever since Expedition 33, it's just been RPG after RPGs, and I haven't played any shooters. And so I need to get back into playing shooters, man. I'm starting to get that itch again.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Shooters are
dominate people.
Shooters are great. It's the reason that they run the market for the most part, to an extent at least.
Yep, and we're gonna talk specifically about a shooter later on.
Oh yeah, yes we will.
That Forte is gonna be super excited about, and I'll be semi excited, but just excited to play a shooter because that's what I do. But you ready to get into these rapid fire topics, sir?
Yup.
So you said you're ready, right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh really?
Oh really?
Directive 8020 and Supermassive Games. So some weirdness is going on with that, and I'm not trying to say I was right, but I am kind of trying to say I was right. So look, oh man, Directive 8020 has been delayed to the first half of 2026. Supermassive Games also has experienced layoffs. They just laid off 36 people. We really hope they find new jobs, whether it's in the field of gaming or out of it, that they land on their feet pretty well, hopefully real soon. Outside of that, I remember doing a video on my YouTube channel back when I used to upload videos consistently, right? And my video was about Supermassive in particular, and I enjoyed their games, and I enjoyed roughly the Dark Picture games, and I really, really enjoyed Until Dawn. But I started to notice something, that they were kind of going down a path that I saw happen with Telltale. And so for those who aren't familiar, Telltale Games, the current iteration of Telltale Games isn't what it was. It's the same name, but not all the same people. Old Telltale went out of business, and they got popular off of The Walking Dead season 1, which is fantastic. They made some really great games like Tales from the Borderlands and A Wolf Among Us, classics, right? But then they had some real duds. And internally, from what a lot of the reporting said, that was done after the studio shut down, and devs were talking to games media about, well, why did you guys get shut down? There was a lot of leadership mismanaging things, not trying to evolve their craft, not trying to evolve their game design, ideas that weren't basically just a spin-off version of what they had already done that was successful. We're getting shut down and censored, and so they were taking on too many projects, and all of them were licensed projects where a good bulk of the money wasn't going to Telltale, but was going to the licensor who owned the IP. And so I started to see Supermassive doing the same thing. And, they got new leadership. The founders were like, they sold the company. The founders took over. The founders were removed, and they got new leadership in place. And there's just been layoffs and delays ever since then. They haven't dropped a Dark Pictures game, but they were supposed to be doing 10 games, 1 per year, which I knew off a rip that cadence could not be kept up. Come on, a game a year? Like, what are we talking about here? And you're not Activision making Call of Duty. You're a 150 dev studio making story-driven narrative games. Come on. And they couldn't keep up that cadence. They haven't dropped one in a good 2 years now. And so it just kind of seems like what I was afraid of is kind of coming true. Forte, what are your thoughts on Supermassive and their layoffs and delaying Directive 8020?
What year did they announce this game?
They announced Directive 8020, I think 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, or a year ago. It may have been last year.
It's just, oh man, it sucks, man, because it's like the timetable and everything is so sped up now. Directions are being changed mid-development cycle. And then I also think it has a lot to do with just the changing marketplace. We're going to talk about it with one of Obsidian's games later when it comes to this, but I just think the overall, the overall interest in a lot of things has kind of changed. And that's always kind of the norm when it comes to console cycles and gaming cycles in general. But there is so much to compete with out here now.
Right.
And it's not to say that Supermassive did anything wrong. It's just,
I'm saying they did something wrong.
No, I'm not saying
maybe
no.
That's just me. I'm definitely saying they did something wrong.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they did do. But even if this wasn't a thing that was caused on their own, which I kind of have an understanding of where you're going with it, I also just know the fact that studios, publishers have to be on high alert, because just because you're in mid-development of something doesn't mean that the axe can't come down at any moment when it comes down to just the overall people that's working there, which is going to also delay the overall development of the game to an extent. But I do think in general, it just has a lot to do with just the simple fact that management, the overall ability to not really hit deadlines. I'm trying to think exactly what I'm trying to say on it, but I just think that this is something that we're just overall expecting. But I also think layoffs are just a part of this thing now. And if they feel like they can push the game along without having as many people there, I think that's part of it. But I also think it's a lot of doing that Supermassive had on their own, especially when it comes to like just the pedigree of the things that they've been coming out with their games and their track record over the course of like the last few releases.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if the industry is, and I'm not an industry analyst, so I'm not saying this, well, this is what's happening. I'm not saying that.
I just think
I do kind of wonder if there's, like I feel like the industry might be going through a contraction.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that it's getting smaller, and therefore there's just too many games coming out and not enough, and there is enough gamers in raw numbers for all these games to be successful.
Yep.
But they're just not playing them. When roughly half of the gaming industry is playing like a dozen games and that's it. And then the other half, they buy games, but their tastes are very diverse. And you have a lot of like AAA projects, a lot of mocapped, expensive actors and budgets and expending. You got, you're licensing out Unreal Engine, and it's free to a degree, but then once you hit a certain number of sales, Epic want their money. And there's just a lot of stuff going on that makes it so that like it's really easy to fail. And before, in the past, it'll be like, your first game wasn't that great. Okay, all right, maybe you'll get another shot, another crack at it, and maybe that next one, you take what you learned from the first one, you make that next one really good, and then now you're really hitting the ground running. Everyone is on the same page. You guys got that chemistry, the culture, the studio is rock solid. Yay. Now it's like you drop a game, it had a little potential, but it didn't do what the sales it needed. Immediate layoffs. Like off rip, half the studio's gone. Then it's just a skeleton crew trying to put a prototype together to pitch a new project, and whether that works or not may determine whether the studio gets shuttered altogether. It's just very cutthroat, And I, long story short, I kind of hope that isn't the fate of Supermassive, but I'm a bit more rough on them than I was on Telltale, because Telltale was kind of like the pioneer of that kind of particular subgenre in narrative games. And what happened to them should have been a lesson to everyone else, but it wasn't, apparently, for Supermassive. So like, you saw what happened with them and you still went down that path. I kind of just gotta tell you should have knew better, But anything else you want to say on this before we get
no, that's it.
All right. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is getting a third-person mode.
Should have been their launch.
Yo, give me. See, this is why I'm bringing it up, right? This is why I'm bringing it up.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, "What? Game's been out for 2 years, 3 years."
So I ain't been out that long.
It's been about 2 years almost, though.
Almost 2 years.
It'll be 2 years because it came December,
out in like
December 2023. Yeah. It came out.
It came out 2 Decembers ago. But the fact that this is I've been talking to some people, and I have a problem with games being released incomplete. And when you have features like this, right? I said this about Starfield, and I said this about Redfall, I said this about Hellblade. And now that Hellblade's getting a performance mode, Hellblade is right in the same category that those other 3 games that Microsoft made is in, where you release the incomplete game, as far as I'm concerned, when you have features that a significant number of people want to play the game with, and you don't have them at launch, your game's incomplete as far as I'm concerned. And shout out to OBM. Because One Bad Mother, because he's the one I've been arguing with about that specifically, and Yeah, I got issues with that. Don't release a game with features that you know people want, that you're working on, and they're not quite ready. Then the game's not ready. And Ubisoft had I don't even blame Massive for this, because Massive was making 2 AAA games at the same time. They were making Star Wars Outlaws and this Avatar game. Like, hello, like why? You got nearly 30 studios, Ubisoft. You can't have someone else help them or some of this stuff. You got a new game plus in a third-person perspective mode coming out. Actually, because it will be coming out this December, 2 years later. I know people that was like, yeah, I would have played the game if it had a third-person mode. The same way some people was like, I would have played X game if it had a performance mode. If on console, it wasn't locked to 30 FPS. It's just, I got an issue with it, and I have to be fair. So when I call this stuff out with a particular platform, I'm gonna call it out with everybody, because it's nonsense. It's you rush your games out, and then you're surprised that they don't do great financially. Shocker. Forte, your thoughts on this?
Bro, who's gonna go back and play this game just because? Now there will be some people. There will be some people that will do it, but a feature like this, like when I saw it, I was like, why wasn't this here at launch? It's like it's like they wanted to cap. It's like all of these studios and all of these publishers, and I really don't like blaming those studios, because studios only follow the publisher's lead. Excuse me, but for the most part, they wanted to capitalize on the growing market that was happening at that time, on top of the fact that they were coming out during the holidays during December, where not too many games sell as well during that moment. Like, it's already right past Call of Duty and stuff like that. People are spending their money in other places, but they still want to maximize the sales opportunities they have during the holidays. So I get it. So they got the game and they rushed it out the door. And I actually enjoyed the game for what it was, but there was things that was missing out of it. Like, you know, the overall performance of the game was up and down. A couple of patches later, they kind of fixed that. It really wasn't completely stable until about February, March the next year. And then, you know, I remember talking to my daughter about it, because she loves this game. She said, man, I wish this was in third person, because, you know, she plays Spider-Man. And she said, this game would be really cool in third person. You know, she played God of War. She played Last of Us. She played Spider-Man, you know, all the PlayStation 10 titles that was in third person. And when she played this on a PlayStation, and she was playing like, she was like, you know, this game would play way better if it was in third person, especially with like the aiming mechanics and stuff like that, because you can see your character. It really immerses you more into the environments due to the type of game it is. And I was
it's
like,
just some games are great for that. And we're going to talk about another game that is locking the player into one perspective that may not go well. I just kind of feel like, and for those because I know there's a lot of people, and I'm not like going in on people, but there's some people who just don't understand the technical aspect of things. Then I'm not saying I'm a developer, right? But I have heard people developers talk about implementing these things. And so this is kind of goes back to, like, say, Avowed, for example. And when they talked about adding the third person perspective, which is what I played 99% of the game when I beat it twice in that third person perspective. It's not just like I think there are people who believe, even in first person perspective, that developers, if a game is locked to first person perspective, that is, the developers have done all the other work that goes into making third person look good, like the motion matching, the animations, the just all the little details, changing up the way like mocapping a actor to do like opening a door, and then having different ways to do that so that it looks dynamic. It doesn't look like the same opening the door animation every single time. Like all these things are happening when they do a third person perspective. And so a lot of the times when they lock you out of that and they just say it's just first person, it's a budgetary timeline milestone issue. Like Cyberpunk originally, to go back to that, was supposed to be third person perspective, and then they threw that out the window. And at one point was like, oh, we'll just have third person in the cutscenes, and end up only having 2 cutscenes that was third person perspective for the entire game. But there's a lot of work that goes into that, and so if you if you didn't do any of the work before launch to get that done, it's going to take a while to really do it right. So like sliding down hills and stuff, like in first person perspective, all you see is 2 arms and a leg sliding down the hill, you know. And in some games, like I'll go back to Cyberpunk again, when you're walking in traffic through people, like when modders on PC added the third person mode, you could see like it looked janky, and the modders had to do additional work to make it look right, because you'll be walking past people and it was like almost like a gravitational pull of the torso of your character being pulled towards the other NPCs that you're walking past, because they kind of use that to simulate you kind of brushing through people like you would in a crowded street or in a crowded like club or something like that. And then in first person perspective, that looks natural. In third person perspective, it looks like you're Mr. Fantastic. So it's just a lot of that stuff. It is time consuming, but when I see you do this 2 years later, I just look like, man, why didn't you just wait? Like I know they did this. They released it when they did because they were trying to get it released as close as they could to the movie. But like, how many times have we seen game development publishers and developers screw over their games to try to line up that game with a TV show or a movie release? Screw that movie or TV show, respectfully. But bruh, the game will suffer just so that you can get some people who watched the TV show and enjoyed it to go try the game and be like, guess I'll stick to the next season of that TV show because this game is not good. And it's just, it ain't gotta be that way, man. Anything else you want to say, bro? I know I've been running my mouth.
You're not running your mouth, man. I get it, but it's just dumbfounding to me, like why studios do this, and it's the thing. I always feel like people don't think about the long-term repercussions of what decisions like this makes when it comes to certain games. Like, I was a huge component of Halo Infinite being delayed until everything was there. I wanted to have split screen there. I wanted to have all of those features available day one because those are things that people want. And then the thing is, they don't realize it is people aren't going to come back. It's like you have to capture people in the beginning.
When you miss it, it's over.
It's over. Like when they did the whole,
they ain't coming back, man.
When they did the whole thing with Redfall saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a 60 frames per second version of the game," and I was like,
"That game was dead by the time it dropped."
But yeah, the game was already dead. It's like nobody wants to. No one's. It took a year and a half to get it.
It's dead, Jim.
The game was dead. So I just don't, and I get it. They just want to get. I listen, man. These companies. They put the needs of what they want in front of the people that pay the bills, bro. And I honestly feel like we are getting to a point where gamers are just fed up with it. It's like, I could just keep playing the games that I was already playing. Why do I have to even think about playing something else so I have to endure another buggy mess in order to get the same satisfaction that I have in a game that I've been playing for the last 3-4 years that has all of its stuff figured out now. It's just it's wow, and they really truly think that is something that people want. They just listen, I didn't sign up for early access. I didn't. Like, if I signed up for early access, it would be something that is in the screen or on your page where it says, you're going to help shape and develop this game. There are games that do that. Like, what's the name of it? Star Citizen's been doing it for over a decade now. Yeah. Those people know what they're paying for. They paid to experience a game early, which at this point I feel like that game is already out. They're just never going to take it out of early access. Pretty much.
No, they're not. And there's some contractual reasons for that. They basically swindled over Crytek with the Cry engine, and they can't. I mean, long story short, it seems as if Crytek won't get paid for the use of that game engine until the game comes out of beta, and they just not gonna pay them. So it's never gonna come out of beta. So yeah. Anything else you want to say on this before we move on to the next one?
We can move on.
I'm trying. Yeah, man. So look.
Oh really?
Man, I saw. This sucks, man. There's a report that came out. Why? Wrong one. It's a report that came out for the Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, and so this was my concern with. And I don't know how far in development this game is. It may be further in development than what happened with their new subsidiary that is running all of their more popular IP. And if correct me if I'm wrong, that new subsidiary is working with not all of Tom Clancy, but specifically Rainbow Six, I think, in addition to Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. And so this is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. Not that's on the screen. On the screen is the Division 2. But what's going on is this came from Insider Gaming that Ubisoft has confirmed that the next Ghost Recon will be first-person perspective only, and it will take place during a fictional war, and takes heavy inspiration. God, Forte, buckle your seats. Takes heavy inspiration from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Mm-hmm. I'll get to that in a second. Footage sent to Insider Gaming reminded them of the game Ready or Not, which is like a tactical shooter that was on PC for a few years, just showed up on consoles, I think, this summer. Sure did. Which is a pretty good game. But they're also not using any of the Ubisoft proprietary engines like Snowdrop or Anvil for this. Instead, they're using Unreal Engine 5. So I don't like any of this stuff. Like, all of this is just not good to me. First, the last couple of Ghost Recons, Breakpoint and Wildlands, which I loved Wildlands. You could, if I played it primarily in third-person perspective, but I felt like you could go back and forth. And then if I remember, back in the day when I played Ghost Recon on PlayStation, I thought you could go back and forth. I'm not 100% certain. I can't remember. I'm old and I was in high school back then, but I remember playing that with my friends, planning out the op, doing the, executing the op and everything. And I thought that was in third person, but whatever, right? The fact that you're only going first person again kind of goes back to what I was saying about Avatar, where it just seems like this is a budget reason, a milestone hitting kind of reason, trying to get something out quicker because it's not going to take as long kind of reason for that, which shortchanges the kind of players that enjoy that kind of experience. I would prefer and maybe I'm being selfish here, but I would just prefer that developers did both. That you provided a first-person perspective and a third-person perspective for games that have shooting in them. I actually used to play with someone in the Division 1 who had serious, like, would get like sick playing games in first person, like when motion sickness. It doesn't happen to a lot of people. We know some people in the community that this happens with, but this person that I played with played the Division because the Division was third person perspective. And so like, you're kind of like not having the option is just, it's not cool, man. There's that. And then I like all of the Ubisoft game engines. I think they're fantastic. Everything that I've played in Snowdrop has been great. Avatar is probably one of the best looking games ever created that was made in Snowdrop. I don't know why. And the Ghost Recon games, I think, were all done in Anvil, which the most recent Assassin's Creed Shadows was created with Anvil. I'm just like, I'm sick and tired of everything being Unreal Engine. I just, and all the issues that Epic has yet to kind of really figure out, what Unreal Engine just seemed to spread to every developer that is using it as well. And so there's that headache. But my biggest issue out of all this is them saying they took heavy inspiration from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty is an arcade shooter. Now let me not say arcade shooter. It is it's not very, it's a military shooter, but it's not very heavy on the realism. And Ghost Recon has always been about realism, like where Rainbow Six was about like hostage situations. You would be like, I'm going old school here, you would be inside of buildings and trying to clear rooms and trying to take out the enemies, getting around hostages, that kind of stuff. Where Ghost Recon would be like, you'd be in a foreign country and then you gotta, like, you need to navigate through the wilderness to get past a whole bunch of different soldiers on patrol, then get to the building, then get in and do whatever you had to do. Like a mission could end if someone just popped you in the head. One stray bullet, headshot, over, you're dead. Or at least it's over for you. Like, when I hear taking inspiration from Call of Duty, I'm like, what are we doing here? Because that's not Ghost Recon. I'm not happy with that, man. So, Forte, what are your thoughts on this, man?
If it's not Grawl, if it's not Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, or it ain't Future Soldier, they can keep it. It ain't those two things, they can keep this, bro. Just the thing. Breakpoint was cool. Wildlands was cool. I like both of them. Now, the first person thing doesn't really bother me as much because the original Graw on Xbox One, or original OG Xbox that I played, was like my real true introduction to like Halo was my first introduction, my real introduction into first person shooters on console. But Grawl was like the first time I actually played a tactical one. Like I was in clans. I don't know if you remember the website Battlegrounds and stuff. I used to run clans and we used to like set matches and stuff on there. It was like life in high school, like all the time. Like it was crazy how much we were playing. Like that's where my competitive edge in shooters came from, was from the original Grawl. So seeing this direction of it, it's fine. It's just that I feel like a lot of stuff has been missed when it comes to like the original, like what Ghost Recon stood for, like what it actually was. Like it's like they kind of merged their two shooting franchises together.
Right.
When it came
the
to
old school Rainbow Six and the old school Ghost Recon seems to be because when they said like it reminded them of Ready or Not, I'm like, well, that's like Ready or Not reminded me of old school Rainbow Six before Siege. So like, it seems like they've merged both franchises, or maybe they're trying to turn Ghost Recon into what people remembered and what people wanted from that old that old style of shooter for those IPs, while Siege continues on being whatever the heck Siege is. Like, I guess it's like a tactical hero shooter, I guess, if you want to call it that. I haven't played Siege in a long time, but just the way they got the operator set up and them having like being very specialized in their toolkit and the things that they do and provide, like that's very much what you get out of a hero shooter, to a degree. Not so much that you need to like learn a character like in detail in order to be really good at them, but because like you're still shooting guns. Primarily in Siege, but close, right? So that's not really what the traditional Rainbow Six experience is. But the reason why a lot of people really enjoy Ready or Not is that it reminded them of that old school feeling from what they no longer get anymore. So I can see maybe they're trying to make Ghost Recon both of those, but yeah, I really like that part I read about Call of Duty really kind of irked me. And I'm not saying I don't dislike Call of Duty. I just kind of feel like certain IP should not try to be like other IP. You feel me?
No, I do.
All right. Anything else you want to say on this before we get to the...
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't know, man. You know, when it comes to like the differences between Ghost and then, I don't know. I don't even know what they doing. You got Sam Fisher sitting out here in the wind. It's like all of that. Right. It's like they don't do any. It's like, and I don't want to make it seem like they don't do anything right with like the Tom Clancy IPs. Because like I said, I like Breakpoint. I like Wildlands. They were cool, but they weren't what Ghost Recon, like the essence of what Ghost Recon is. It's like they lost that a long time ago.
Wildlands was Ghost Recon, but with the typical Ubisoft open world. Here's the tower, unlock the tower, see all the icons light up, go to the location, do the same similar missions, take down the guy, the lieutenant, I would say, of the that region, slowly build your way up to the top guy kind of thing. It was their version of what we've seen from a lot of other games with that kind of Far Cry game design, which at the time when Wildlands came out, I didn't mind it because I just wasn't like other people who were sick and tired of it at that time. But I think by the time Breakpoint came out, and I don't think Breakpoint was quite like that, but I just kind of couldn't get into it. Maybe I was still playing Division, that's why. But I just I would like their IPs to be uniquely what they're known for, so that when people think of, like, when you think of Ghost Recon, what you and I experience of that IP is like from decades ago, whereas say our nephews and nieces and children think of Ghost Recon, they may have a completely different
idea what it is, right?
Yeah, and it's just like, that shouldn't be the case. Like, when I think about what Mario is, yeah, there'll be a bunch of different games or different kind of like, but like if I specifically say Mario Party, everyone knows what that is.
What it is.
If I say Mario Odyssey or that kind of like, I know it's a platformer.
It's like Mario 64 and stuff like that.
Yeah, if someone says I'm gonna go play an Uncharted game, it's not a dating sim. You know, we know what it is. We know it's third person shooting, getting into cover, narrative driven, great, animations and cutscenes. We know what Uncharted is. Like, we know what Halo is. A lot of people don't know what Ghost Recon is.
That's the thing, because that's the frustrating about Ghost Recon or with any of their franchises like that, because they all had a distinct lane when we grew up. I remember in Ghost Recon, you had to to take weapons online, you had to finish the campaign and you had to do all of the different objectives in the campaigns in order to unlock the 7.21 carbine. That was one of the best weapons in the game. You had to literally do the castle map and get the best grade you could on it, which was not easy, on the hardest difficulty, and you could only do it in single player by yourself to take that weapon online. And it was a super tactical but more squad-based game. Then you went and played Rainbow, which was more close quarters, more tactical attachments and stuff on your weapons, third person
rooms, that kind of
clearing
stuff,
rooms and stuff. And then you had Splinter Cell, which was single player, espionage, sneaking around, stealthy, doing this, having cool weapons and cool gadgets and being able to do all this. And they all had its own separate lane. And it was I swear to God, and people try to say it's dated, they melded all that stuff together so they can have a more consistent games across all of them. But
at one point in time, people were saying that turn-based RPGs are dated. And now,
look where we are now.
It could be a turn-based RPG. We had a turn-based RPG that was nominated for Game of the Year last year with Metal for ReFantasio, and we could have a turn-based RPG that wins Game of the Year this year. It's just like that game design is dated. I'm like, you just, I think it's people who lack vision.
It is
to be frank, and that may sound disrespectful, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just think people lack vision, because for example, what Expedition 33 does, it's not just a turn-based game. They implemented some elements from other kind of games with the parrying and dodging, the jumping that you don't typically get in that kind of genre. So if for a lot of people who don't rock with turn-based, it got them in the game, got them wanting to I want to be a parry god. I want to get really good at parrying and looking at the attack sequences and figuring out, the enemy's cadence of attacking and figuring out how to parry all that and coming together with all different combinations to make your all of your expeditioners really OP. Like, when you can do a particular genre, you just gotta update it for today's audience, and that takes a level of creativity that I just don't think a lot of people have, or they're not allowing their developers to cultivate that creativity. And either way, it's just, you really allowing a lot of these IPs to just collect dust. Like Gregor's right in the chat. Ubisoft let Sam Fisher collect dust, and somehow Konami's releasing the Metal Gear without Kojima. Before you do another Sam Fisher. Like, what are we doing here, bro?
Makes no sense, bro. Makes no sense. But that's all I have on
Ubisoft. Yeah, let's get into these main topics now.
Let's do it.
And Forte, you're definitely about to be all in on this one.
Wait, hold on. I don't like that. I'm all in on every topic, sir.
No, well, I mean, you're gonna be more.
This is the one right here, because I got some things to say.
All right, so Battlefield 6 has had a teaser trailer shown and a release date, and I don't know why I have that listed, and I don't even have. Is it the October 10th? Is that
October 10th, baby?
Because I somehow forgot to write that down. Anyway,
nope. October 10th. I got you.
October 10th.
October
It will
10th.
cost It will cost $80.
Yeah,
But
it will.
$70 on PC. Oddly enough, there will be
Which
a
is
special
beautiful.
edition called the Phantom Edition, and that will also cost $110 on consoles and $100 on PC. And there will not be any early edition or early bird access versions for this game. Forte, take it away. What did you think about Battlefield 6 and everything you're hearing?
Listen, games go. I don't get too excited for Battlefield games like I used to because I always feel like I'm about to get disappointed in the end. But this Vince Zampella, I think it's going to knock this one out the park, bro. When I was watching that and this wasn't even multiplayer, but this was just single player. Like the announcement trailer of the single player. Multiplayer reveal is on the 31st of July. So I think next week. So, but the number one thing that stood like in my mind was I felt like I was watching Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 cinematics, just better. Like the scale, like it's like Vince was made to make in my mind, he was made to make games like this because we know what he did with Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, what he did with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3.
Then Titanfall.
Yeah. We know what he did. And when I'm watching this, I see it on a bigger scale. I see the environments, like just the attention to detail, like when they were like basically rolling out of the camp and they showed the wide shot of all of the soldiers walking and helicopters taking off in the background. I was like, this is something that would happen. This is like what you would see in like a high compressed Call of Duty trailer, but just on a bigger scale with Battlefield. So I'm looking at it like, bro, the cinematics look really good. It's like, it actually seems like there's a story involved. And I feel like, what has Call of Duty story really been over the course of the last couple of years? I know they keep going back and forth with Woods and everything with the Black Ops series, which a lot of people love. But I was always about Soap and about Ghost and everybody else in the Modern Warfare series. So seeing the storytelling that they're kind of telling with the president seemed like he's up there sweating about everything going on. You got cinematics with bridges getting hit by AMRAAM missiles and all of this stuff being cut together. And I'm like, yo, this actually looks like this is going to actually be a pretty compelling single player that they're putting together here. And then I already know what he can do with the multiplayer. I just need them to land a plane on the performance. If they nail the performance day one on this game,
yo, that is the only thing I care about, honestly.
Only thing I'm worried about. The only thing I'm worried about is the last
3 Battlefields have launched. 4. Because Battlefield 4, Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, all... Oh, wait, is that 3?
Which is that?
Grief. I'm tired.
No,
How many games is that?
This will be the
4th one.
There's Battlefield 1, 2, 3, 4.
No. The last 3 was 5. 4,
Battlefield 5,
and 1.
No, Battlefield 1,
and
5,
2042.
And 2042.
Okay, that's the one I was missing. 2042.
Yeah,
they've all been really, really bad releases, like really bad launches, and then they get it together. And the Battlefield community is they will stick it out. They will stick it out until it's ready. But like the overall gaming community, they don't stick it out. They move on. And so like if you really want to like really capture the audience, like Call of Duty right now has not been.
It's on Madden status right now, bro.
Yeah, it's not been this bad in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
This is the perfect opportunity for EA and DICE. Whatever. They just renamed DICE to something else, right? I can't remember.
It's Battlefield Studios now.
Okay, so Battlefield Studios and EA have the perfect opportunity to steal that zeitgeist, to steal some of that talk, to bring it back to Battlefield. And They just got like if this game comes out at launch with no scoreboard, with
no
desync
scoreboard.
issues, with
That's
hit detection issues, like all that nonsense that happened with 2042, bro. You just messed like all these years working on this, and for it to not be ready, like nah, like so that's the only thing that I'm like, you get that done, and I'm there. I'm there anyway, but I will play it more consistently, and I feel like just launching good, solid. Give us at least a Call of Duty launch when it comes to optimization and stability.
That's it. The only thing that be missing. It's the only thing that be missing, bro.
And you're golden if you do that.
Cause that's
all I got.
They have so many. See, this is the thing, and I know you're not a huge, like vehicles and stuff, but they have the thing that makes Battlefield, I feel like, different from other games, is especially ever since they kind of lit themselves to the Call of Duty, fan base, is the fact that you can still play Battlefield like Call of Duty if you play in the certain maps that limit stuff like that. And I think that is something that really, really kind of speaks to a lot of people, but it's always the performance. It's like, I overlook it because I love the franchise. So I'm, like you said, I'm one of those people that stick it out. I will always stick it out because I just prefer the large scale battles. I prefer to see 15 of my teammates running on my side, and we run into this corridor, and the next thing you know, some go left, some go right, I go straight, and then all of a sudden it opens up into this huge arena where a person could be sniping from 1,000 feet away, and it might be the greatest shot in the world, and guess what? You just tip your hat to that guy, or you find a way to kill 15 different people until you find your way to get to him. It's like a different type of experience. And watching, and like I said, this was just the single player, and I feel like it's going to be something because they skipped single player when it came to 2042. They only had multiplayer for that, and I think that was one of the main reasons they brought Vince Zampella on, was to kind of rectify that, because they know his pedigree.
That's the only reason why I have somewhat hope that they can turn it around this time.
Because that's what I'm saying. The last single player game that man made is considered universally is the best single player shooter that's ever been created. Titanfall 2 to this day is magnificent when it comes to the single player. I mean, it's great.
Every other year I run through Titanfall 2 again.
It's so good, bro.
The campaign is fantastic. Probably one of the best. Yeah, I agree. One of the best single player first person shooter campaigns I've ever played, made in my opinion.
To this day, and it's great. So I'm definitely excited, but it's always going to be cautious, optimistic, especially until I see the multiplayer gameplay. I will say this though, listen, $80, I'm there, but I'm playing it on PC, so I'm only gonna pay $70. Because I guess what, my performance is gonna scale like crazy on that game. But I will say,
I'm gonna do what I normally do, which is I'm gonna sign up for EA Play Pro, and if they nail the launch, I will buy it with that discount and then unsubscribe.
I agree, and that's
what I normally do.
And guess what? That's probably what I'll end up doing too, because just to keep it PC, I just want to make sure that games cost too much to be, having these experiences where it doesn't last. And part of me just feels like that's where we need to be at this point. We need to you can still support things. If they got subscription services, go ahead and subscribe to that subscription service for a quarter of the amount that the games are going to cost you, because trust me, you'll know in the first 30 days if they fixed everything. And if it's good, go out and, cancel the subscription, go out and buy the game, enjoy the game for as long as you want to at that point. But I will pick this game up and play it just off of what I saw from the single player, and knowing that Vince is behind it. And then I am very, very optimistic about what I saw looking at when it comes to the multiplayer stuff. And we'll talk about that again next week when they finally show it, because that's where the teeth of the game are. If they can nail that and nail the performance, and I truly believe the gameplay is going to be there because it's always there. Performance has always been the issue. So I'm super excited for it, and can't wait to jump into that more, man.
All right, you ready for this next topic, bro?
Oh, is it something? Okay. I thought you was gonna put Bungie up there.
What's going on?
Oh no, you didn't. No, so you're not tied into it. The raid race happened for the new Destiny raid. The perpetual raid happened over last weekend, and it was taking some of the teams like almost 48 hours to beat this raid. It was wild. Come to find out, almost 70% of the initial 100 people, like teams that beat the raid, cheated. They announced it like 12 hours. Paul Tassi wrote a huge article about how 70% of the day one clears for the perpetual raid was cheaters. 70%, bro. There has never been anything like this, bro. Bungie came, like, I was like, yo, are you serious?
I gotta do the sad violin. I gotta do. Oh my gosh, that's
70% of the people that beat the day one, the most prestigious thing in your game, over 70% of day one clears were cheaters.
What's that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was funny.
Yeah. Oh no, Gregor said it gets better. One of the cheaters was a content creator who recently called out cheaters and now got.
Oh, who was it?
I don't know. I didn't know because I just found out about it today. I didn't really reach it.
Gregor, write the name in the chat because I do know a good number of Destiny content creators. I just wonder which one this was.
Man,
that's hilarious.
It's wild out here, bro. I was sitting there like looking at this. I was looking at these articles and I was like, bro, people are literally out here cheating just to get an emblem. And it's not even like they give you the bag and the jacket that you get for clearing a day one raid. You get a discount code added to your account so you can buy
discount.
It. No, listen,
that cheap?
No, let me tell you how they do it. Cause I bought 2 raid jackets before for clearing day ones. I bought the Salvation, cause I beat that one, and then I bought the raid jacket for deep space. And I love both those jackets. But what they do is the only thing that you get is if you beat it in the first like 24 to 48 hours, depending on how long they have it set for, they give you an emblem that you get in game that nobody else can get. Everybody else gets the second emblem. You get both emblems, they get the second emblem. That's the prestigious part of the game. But then they give you a code that anybody can buy. They usually market for like $100,000 for the jacket on the website. Now you can spend $100,000 and buy the jacket if you want to, but if you beat the raid, you can spend $100,000 on this jacket if you want to. They don't lock you out of that. But if you beat the raid, listen, if you beat the raid, listen, if you beat the raid,
stop, pause.
Yeah.
How much is this jacket?
It's not $100,000. It's like
I'm gonna say like, excuse me, like
no. It's like they'll have it listed on the website to buy for like $100,000 or $200,000, knowing nobody's going to pay that price. But they do that to have it listed on the website. So when you beat the raid, you get a coupon code to go on the website to redeem, and it drops the jacket down to like $179 to buy it. But I done that twice. Like
that's still too.
No, okay. Listen. The jackets are fire.
I'm not spending $179 on no daggone Destiny jacket.
Listen. At that point we were spending $100 a year on Destiny. So who cares? But
okay.
I don't feel bad about that. But the fact that the fact that there was 70% of the people that beat that raid day one cheated, I was like, yo, this is why I don't play Destiny anymore. because the magic is gone. Like the most prestigious thing you have in the game that everybody builds themselves up to, you just confirmed that more than half of the people that beat it cheated. It's wild, bro. Wild.
Well, shout out to Destiny for that. Let's get into this next topic.
And then let's be I'm sorry.
Forte.
No, I'm sorry. And then Gregor just reminded me, and they just finally fixed HDR. How long Destiny been out, bro? How long it's been available on PC? Since 2017? And they not 2017, 2019, and they finally fixed HDR. Finally. We can move on, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to the Bungie, shout out to them. Let's get into this next topic, man. Sony and Bandai Namco have come together in a partnership, and we do also have some late breaking news to get into in a moment, but we'll do the first part first. So Sony is acquiring 2.5% of Bandai Namco for around $463 million. And this isn't a specific like PlayStation thing. This is Sony, because this kind of goes into outside of gaming. This collaboration will be on games, on anime, and on music, and into other broader areas. And they're doing joint development for rapid growth, quote unquote, into anime and manga worldwide. So this could end up being like, say, for example, Elden Ring. They could do an Elden Ring anime. I think that would I actually would prefer that more than the live action Elden Ring movie they're working on. Just kind of like, for an example, something like that, or the Tales series doing collaborations in other media outside of games for stuff like that. So I think that's a pretty cool, pretty dope collaboration there, and partnership, and just kind of getting cozying up a little bit more with Bandai Namco. Any thoughts on that, Forte?
They're trying to sneak in and get some of that Elden Ring money. They're trying to make sure that those next games they trying to say, well, listen, we're losing the Final Fantasy exclusivity, so we got to find a way to see if Namco is going to snuggle up next to us, because we already ain't got a lot of first party games releasing because we scaled back on our first party offerings, and we bet so heavily on games as a service, where all of our studios for the most part had to do a hard reset, and we got to put them back on track, and we also pushed the development of a lot of our single player games back. Thank God Sucker Punch was able to still truck ahead and get Ghost of Yotai out there. So but we still working with games like Wolverine that we haven't seen officially yet outside of leaks. So we got to do something, and with Final Fantasy not being that number one thing that we could depend on, we need to make sure that we snuggle up next to Big Daddy Paws, Bandai Namco, and make sure that when it comes to like games like not Square, but games like Elden Ring and stuff like that, and all of these Souls games that they be producing, that we can try to get some exclusive stuff around that. If Nintendo can do it, I know we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think this is going to be more along the lines of giving them. I think if they didn't have Sony Pictures, and if they didn't own a lot of
it's got a lot to do with
the distribution of anime, but maybe like
I think it's got a lot to do with the movie side and the anime side.
The platforms where they own Crunchyroll,
yep.
Right? So like I think if they didn't have so much diversity in their portfolio for the entire company and those kind of things, that this doesn't happen. But because they do, and that they can actually use that to also leverage some things into gaming. But I think more than anything, this strategic partnership will end up using a lot of Bandai Namco IP into other media, which it just makes a lot of sense in that regard. But some other news came out today. Did you see it, Forte?
Oh. Did I see it?
Did you hear? Did you hear
I
about
did. I did see
the
it.
job announcement? You know,
I
there's,
did.
there's a new job announcement.
Yeah,
It's for a senior director of multi-platform and account management. Right. So, like, do you know whose role this is for? Who's hiring for this role?
That would be, you know, Sony, you know, home of the PlayStation.
Yeah, shocker, right?
Guess what though? Also, you know, this isn't a small role, SloMo. This is a major role, because this role,
no.
This is a flexible role that can be remote with a varying pay range based on the geographical location. For example, if you are based in Seattle, the estimated pay of this role is worth $246,000 to $369,000 a year. Guess what, SloMo? They ain't just paying somebody that, you know, that much money to just do some little things. That's a lot of money.
I'm not even caring about that. Let's look at the job description. Here's the overview of your. If you were to say, you know, apply for this job, this is what you'll be doing.
This is what you'll be doing.
A critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software across all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware. That will include Steam. That will include Epic Games Store. That will include Nintendo. That will include mobile. And there's another platform. Oh, it's Xbox. That's Xbox too.
It's an Xbox.
The role is accountable for optimizing title profitability. You know, all these big words they got put in there. Ensuring cross-functional alignment and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion. Leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion. I just want to kind of repeat that. With mid-range commercial planning and platform partner management. And this is the last thing off of this job announcement that I kind of wanted to add here. You would oversee the out-of-year mid-range commercial strategy for PlayStation Studios. Titles across all non-PlayStation platforms, driving long-term revenue growth and audience reach. So let's break that down for a moment. What this is, after we've seen that they're putting Helldivers 2 on Xbox. Like, a lot of people saw that and was like, oh, well, you know, it's one game. Helldivers 2 is super successful, so why not put it on Xbox?
Well, you can still talk. I got my headset on, but my wife just called me, so I have my head. I can still hear you. I just let you know I walked away for like 2 minutes.
Oh, no problem. But let's really break this down for a second. This kind of role, and to lead, be a director on a kind of team that focus specifically on these things, is something that you do when you're pushing further into other platforms. Now, a few weeks ago, when we talked about Helldivers 2, I said, hey, look, don't be surprised if you start seeing non-live service games coming to the Xbox. And I said that because them publishing a game on the Xbox is different now. So, like, I still think their overall strategy of PlayStation first is still largely there. It just looks a little different now. See, they've consistently been saying that their games, their single player games, will release on PlayStation first, and then their live service games will release on other platforms. And you know, all the time we kept saying, oh, they mean PC. That's other platforms. Or if not PC, mobile. That's what they mean, they're mobile. And then it was like, oh, well, so they mean PC, mobile, Nintendo after Lego Horizon. And then now, after Helldivers 2, it's all of them. This is what's happening. And I just need some of you guys to just walk off the ledge. No, sorry, don't walk off the ledge. Take a step back from the ledge and realize what's happening here. This role will direct and develop a team of senior managers across multi-platform strategy, account management, platform sales, and planning. Direct reports include Director of Multi-Platform Strategy and Account Management, a Senior Manager for Platform Sales, specifically for Xbox and PC. This is in the job announcement, and Manager Platform Planning and Performance for PC and Xbox. Like, I think when you really kind of break it down, it's not difficult to understand where they're going with this, and I'm not telling anyone that they need to agree with it, but the delusion that some people have where they choose to just ignore it or come up with excuses or say, oh, that's not real, that's not going to happen. It's just like, bro, you just need to come to terms with what's happening. And what's happening is that you're going to start seeing PlayStation games, not just live service games, showing up on Xbox. Do I think you're going to get those games day and date? I don't think PlayStation will ever do day and date.
No, I don't think so
on
either.
Other platforms. Like the way this team is specifically, and you have to go back to the part where they talked about oversee the out of year commercial strategy. What they mean by that is after the sales tail of the game ends on PlayStation, now you got a new sales range for other platforms. That's what they're talking about. After it's already released on PlayStation, a year later or a year and a half later, it's released on PC and Xbox, or potentially a Switch 2 if the Switch 2 is capable of running it, is where this team's going to come into play and getting, driving long-term revenue growth and getting more of an audience reach. They want a team that specifies in specifically understanding these markets, especially PC, and understanding how to market their games to PC and not having some of the mistakes that they've had in the past where they kind of pissed the PC community off, where like it seemed like they had a little bit of momentum going, growing, and then they kind of like had some pitfalls, and the PC community is very volatile. Like they could be rocking with you 1 minute and the very next day they could be actively campaigning on your downfall. And unlike other platforms, the PC community can make it happen within the PC community. It's enough of them that will just say, I won't buy your game even if I want to play it, simply because you did XYZ that I don't like. We don't see that on consoles. You can't treat them as if you treat a console gamer. And so with that said, that known, it makes sense that we're going to choose to create an entire team that's devoted to understanding these things, understanding the market that they are engaging in, and making sure that the decisions that they make don't cause problems. And so people just gotta come to terms with it, bro. People just gotta come to terms with this is the direction that they're going. Does that mean you should stop enjoying PlayStation games? No. But if you're the kind of person, and you know who you are, if you're the kind of person that only got enjoyment out of these games because they were only ever going to be available on this platform, if somehow your excitement for PlayStation has waned, not because of the content of the games, but because of who gets to play it, I have to wonder, what are you doing? Why do you play video games? Do you know? Is it about the games or is it about the platform for you? Do you wear knee pads, sir? You know, are those knee pads worn out? Do you need to buy new knee pads every 3 or 4 months? How's your jaw? Is it a little sore? I'm saying these things because you seem to be someone who cares more about the platform and less about what we're supposed to be doing here, which is the actual game. Like, it seems to me some of these people have never hear this sound. They never hear that. Or this sound. They never hear any of that because you gotta actually play games to hear that sound. And if you only play games because you wanna wave the blue flag and say, ha ha, look at the Metacritic score of this game, you're never gonna play that on your Xbox. Well, no, not anymore, buddy. But how does that change your enjoyment of the game? Were you always capping? Did you really think Horizon Forbidden West had a great story? Did you really feel like Aloy is a great character? Just asking. Because when it really comes down to it, is that this is where Sony's going. I'm not saying you have to think it's a good idea. I mean, I don't think Microsoft strategies recently are good ideas. But that doesn't mean when Fable comes out, I'm not gonna play Fable. Doesn't mean when what's another one? I'm unfortunately going to play Grounded 2 because my buddies won't play Grounded 2. So I'll play Grounded 2 next week. I'm not going to not play that game because I'm upset about Microsoft strategies or layoffs and stuff. I don't like any of that stuff, but I'm a gamer, so I play games, you know, and that is what it is. If they are games that I'm going to enjoy, or I'm going to enjoy playing them with my friends, or I'm just going to enjoy the experience altogether, that's more important than fighting for a brand that don't know you, don't care about you, don't know your name, don't know you exist in anything. All they see from you is dollar signs, because that's all you're good for as far as they're concerned. Just saying.
I agree.
Forte, any thoughts, sir?
Man, it is what it is on this. I think I think every game this is just telling you I think this is more than just multiplayer centric, like games as a service going everywhere. I just think, I think this is more of a plan. Like you said, once the lifespan of a game runs its course on, console for the actual PlayStation platform, you're going to see this focus of pushing games into other places that make sense for them, a la PC, Xbox, Nintendo, when it makes sense for the game, if it can run on the system. And I just think that that's going to be the goalpost that's going to be set for them going forward. The fact that this is the thing. There was a point where PlayStation wouldn't even mention Xbox in the same breath as, or even Nintendo, or even PC in the same breath as, games that they're making for their platform. But you literally see this on an official PlayStation post about making games and making sure that the platform, like the platform agnosticity when it comes to like how these games are developed and the partnerships of developing these games on other platforms is going to be a thing that they're doing in the future. And they named those platforms outright. So that just kind of lets me know this is just more than just a push towards the live service and getting those games. Like some people say, like games like Helldivers 2. Well, it makes sense for it to be on other platforms, but the funny thing is, people didn't say that when it first came out. That was part of the list wars. Like, oh, we got Helldivers 2, and it's only on PC and console.
Forte, real quick. And there is nothing dumber than list wars.
Yeah, it's like a list war.
Nearly every single person that I've seen that goes, oh, you X platform suck. Why? Because you don't have this game, that game, this game, that game. The games they list ain't even out yet. So how do you know it's good? You haven't played it yet. It's not out yet. How do you know it's a good game? And then when it comes out, did they play it? No.
Nope.
Didn't play it.
Sure didn't.
They talked more about and bragged about having it exclusive to their platform than actually playing the game. Maybe if you actually bought games, PlayStation wouldn't feel compelled to put games on the other platform. Oh, some of them don't like to hear that. That's the argument they used to say the Xbox got. Full circle. Here we are. Look at you. Maybe you should have played those games instead of capping on social media. Just saying. And of course, if you did play those games, if you do enjoy these games, and you will continue to play games that you enjoy, don't care about platforms, then of course, this ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you're offended, well, a hit dog will holler.
Right.
Man, I tell you. So yeah, the dislikes will come on this video. We don't care. I can just tell you right now, you can dislike this video all you want. It's going to be the same energy every single week. So I know that there's a few people that just like every video, I'm going to dislike it. I want them to know that somebody didn't like their video. I'm going to let you know. We don't care. Thank you for your view though. We do not care. It's always going to be like this. And you know, it's what it is. But enjoy. And you know, Ghost of Yotai comes out on PlayStation 5 this holiday. It'll be on an Xbox and a PC, probably holiday 2026 or 2027 at some point. You just come to terms with it. It is what it is. It will happen. Just let it happen.
I agree.
I was about to say something else. But you know, this is a family-friendly program. So
today it is.
Ready to get into this? It always is, sir. Mostly. So you ready to get into this this next topic, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
This is going to get the other side of people angry now. Oh man, I tell you, it's going to be a lot of dislikes this time. So, oh wow, how did I mess that up? Hold on, give me a second. Let me fix this. I thought I was putting that in the right spot. And boop, there we go. No Rest for the Wicked is skipping Xbox at launch. It looks like I forgot the name of the CEO, but the guy that runs Moon Studios, he said, and it looks like it was a screenshot of what he was saying. He didn't deny it was him, and it looked like it came from Discord, a Discord server. But essentially, given current market conditions, we might only release on PlayStation 5 and potentially Switch 2 for the time being. Now, the game has been in early access on PC for a year, I guess now. I mean, I can't remember when I played it. I played it when it first came out in early access. Me personally, I thought it was a mess of a Souls-like kind of game. Then I thought a lot of the systems didn't quite work right. It's early access, so you kind of expect these things to get better. I did play it over again, and this is what you see on the Jumbotron now. I think the game is better, but it's still not. I'm not going to play this for the most part. So for me, it's not for me. But
I've not played this game.
It looks like if you play primarily on Xbox, you're either going to have to wait for it to launch on Xbox or play it on the PS5 or Switch 2, but he says it looks like that we might only release on PS5 and potentially Switch 2 for the time being. We'll have to discuss things with Microsoft to see what makes sense for Xbox. And so you can take that a couple of ways. I know there's some people who are like, sounds like they're trying to get a Game Pass bag, even though the CEO said that he's not interested in being in Game Pass. I've seen some people saying, well, it sounds like that last aspect of the quote is that there may be some optimization issues. You know, this is again, you know, pointing at that Xbox Series S and saying, oh, well, they need help. And so what Microsoft needs to do is send out some engineers, help them figure it out, so they're not doing that after the fact like they did with Baldur's Gate 3. Maybe. But does any of that matter, Forte? Does any of that really matter? Do you, if the platform had more players, if on average software sales were higher, I don't think Moon Studios is talking about skipping Xbox. They are a independent studio that's not a AAA studio that has had high turnover after every release of their game due to, you know, very much their own leadership's nonsense. They don't have unlimited resources. So in order to make sure their game is polished on the platforms it's going to release on, they're going to delay it on the one platform they know is going to sell the least. That's all this is, bruh. I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it's a huge it doesn't need a thesis. It doesn't need a huge analysis report. It's very simple. The Xbox platform is going to get less sales than the Switch 2, the PlayStation, and the PC, and so it's going to come there later. And some of us told y'all it was going to be like this ever since that Xbox business update. But people told us we was crazy.
That business update told a lot of truth.
Yeah,
all you have to do is pay attention.
if you release games incomplete on your own platform, but then when they come to PlayStation, you want to add all these other modes. Hey, here's a performance mode. All this other extra stuff you want to add. You want to have Hellblade 2 come out on PlayStation, and you using their own upscaler for it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do when you treat your own platform like they second class citizens that ain't worth getting a complete game at launch. Why would you think third party developers are going to treat you any differently? Of course, they're going to be like, all right, well, y'all not a priority for the platform, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drop this over here later. They all their games so far that we know of next year, I think Grounded 2 likely is on Xbox first and PC simply due to logistics and my opinion, sure, but like logistics for the most part, but and having the bandwidth of enough devs to kind of make that port, and more than likely they just couldn't do it once the decision was made to put games on PlayStation before that would have allowed it to happen at launch, similar to like Indiana Jones, for example. But everything else, PlayStation, same time. Gears of War, PlayStation, day and date. Outer Worlds 2, PlayStation, day and date. You don't make your own devs a priority, and then you don't even you lie to your community and say, oh, we can't, it's just not possible to do a performance mode for some of these games. You say, oh, look, you'll get your performance mode, but it's going to have to come later on, 6 months after the launch of the game, so that the game's already dead by the time you drop it. But when you bring it to PlayStation, man, all of a sudden, you were able to figure it out. All of a sudden, hey, we can scale this. All of a sudden, we figured out how to do a performance mode without losing any visual fidelity, like Ninja Theory did. Shocker. What changed? Could it be a platform you value? that you're bringing the game to. It's just, we about hard truths tonight. And the hard truth is that the Xbox platform is not valued like other platforms, even by the own company that makes the platform. So when that's the impression that you give to developers and publishers out there, they ain't got the bandwidth to make it happen. You're going to be not much of a priority. Before Forte goes, I'm gonna say this, and some people might get upset. I don't have a problem with what Moon Studio is doing, and I'm gonna use an example of another game from an indie studio, well, two games, for example. Night School Studio, former Telltale developers. Their first game was Oxenfree. It was kind of a cult indie hit, came out of nowhere. Really good game, great storytelling, great characters. If you haven't played it, give it a shot. You might like it. Oxenfree released on, if I remember correctly, it released on PC first, then Switch, and then like a year later or 6 months later, something like that, Xbox and PlayStation. They needed to do that because they were a very small team, and getting all of them to do a simultaneous multi-platform launch was just out of the question. So their next game comes out, After Party, not as good as Oxenfree as far as content goes, at least in my opinion. But that was a multi-platform launch and on everything. And all they did, they doubled their studio size, but they literally went from 13 developers to like 24, 25 devs. They didn't double their studio size enough to justify what they were attempting to do. Same kind of design game, still same, running on the Unity game engine. Buggy mess on every platform it launched on. Buggy mess. They probably would have been better off doing what they did the first time. Release on PC, release on Switch, release on Xbox, PlayStation. And so where people get upset and they don't think about the bigger story here, like, I don't think Moon Studio is out here like rubbing their hands like an evil villain on a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, I can't wait to make those Xbox gamers upset. Look what I'm going to do. No, he wants to make money, bro. Right. And so he's going to figure out how to make money. And for him, whether you agree with the decision or not, he feels like best way to make money is to make sure this game is polished on all other platforms, and we'll hit Xbox later. You may not like it.
May not.
But you're gonna have to accept it. Forte, the floor is yours.
That was what you consider fireworks bursting in the air, like the Star Spangled Banner. No, man, just, you go back to like all of the different. It was always a different reason why people talk about why games were skipping Xbox. If you go back at Larian Studios, because the Xbox Series S didn't, allow them to put not crossplay. What was it called? Split screen co-op into the game. That was one thing. That was the reason we're skipping. Then you got Black Myth Wukong skipping Xbox because of performance issues and stuff like that. Come to find out, it might have been more for the fact that PlayStation kind of gave them a bag and they didn't want that to come out. But there's a whole bunch of different reasons why people do it. But guess why these are all reasons why people do stuff like this? It's because they don't see the benefit. Like, it's not like we have to put it over there. It's not like Xbox is like considered on the same playing field as PlayStation. Like, the reason more games don't go to Switch is because the Switch the Switch at that time wasn't as powerful enough to do it. But guess what happened during Xbox 360 and PS3? The Wii was it wasn't as powerful, but we still got a Call of Duty game over there because they couldn't ignore the over 80 to 100 million people that had that thing. So they actually made a Call of Duty for the Nintendo. And guess what they did with the Wii U? Even though the Wii U had abysmal numbers, it only sold like 13 to 14 million consoles. Just off the back of what the Wii did, they made Call of Duty Ghost for Nintendo. And they didn't even blink an eye at it. Guess what? They made a Madden 42. I think Madden all the way up to Madden 14 was available on a Wii. And reason they did it is because they couldn't ignore Nintendo. People can ignore Xbox now. It sucks, but it's also a lot to do with what Xbox did with just their overall branding, their marketing, and everything over the course of like the last couple of not even years, like pretty much most of the Xbox One generation. And then the business update didn't bring any vote of confidence because when you started talking about putting your games in other places, it kind of signals to other developers or other publishers that even you don't believe in your platform enough to let your game stand on their own. Like if you feel like your games are going to sell no matter what. Now PC is one thing. I don't think anybody really cared. Like they didn't really, like, developers or publishers didn't look at them by saying putting your games on PC is a bad thing, because that's an extra revenue stream you have that doesn't really cannibalize your console. Because people, as much as I grin at it sometimes, there are people that just love console. They will always play on console until they get a chance to experience what another platform like PC is. But if they never get to that point, they'll always just prefer console. And plus, some people just like to play on their couch. They don't like to sit down at a desk, even though a lot of those things can be mitigated by just buying certain peripherals that allow you to be able to play comfortably wherever you want, even on a PC. But I can't deny it. Popping a disc in your console or turning your console on and downloading a game is way more streamlined than booting up a game or booting up your PC, going to a particular app, booting that up, paying for the game, having all these different marketplaces to be able to do it. It's not hard for me because I've been doing it for so long, but I can see why for some people. But that is a completely different conversation that people are having now when it comes to the Xbox platform, because they look at it as like, do I have to be there? Or is it a platform I can miss? Do I have to put development dollars into the Xbox ecosystem in order to like capture sales from maybe the 1 to 200,000 people that may purchase the game? That's a decision they have to make. And then on top of that, you're not just competing. Remember, we always talk about, like, with Call of Duty, like, nobody wants to release a game. Nobody wants to release around a Grand Theft Auto game. So now you still have those same things in play when it comes to the Xbox, but now you have to compete with Game Pass. It's like, now I have to not only compete with other games, I have to compete with a subscription service that's being updated daily with new things that are coming out by a platform holder that is basically telling their gamers that this is the best way to play. And look what that got them. It got them into a situation where they got to put their games in other places. Maybe that was the plan all along. They got a foothold into the living room space with the name Xbox. They're going to keep it, but now they're siphoning off that entertainment piece to say, we just want you to be in the ecosystem. We don't care if you buy it on our platform, you buy it on somebody else's platform. We just want you to engage with our content wherever you want to be. And that's where we are now. And developers are seeing that, publishers are seeing that. It's like, is the juice worth the squeeze to put it over there? Some developers are going to think, yeah, because Xbox still has a huge name. It's not like Stadia or Luna or something like that. Xbox is the biggest publisher out there. It just happens to be a publisher that doesn't care. I keep saying doesn't care about their platform or their console. I think they care about it. It's just not a priority. The priority is completely divorced from what most gamers expect from Xbox, a whole ecosystem where you can play your games as much wherever you want to, but still have the ability to play those same games on your hardware, a hardware that you produce. And we don't know what the long-term strategy of Xbox is when it comes to hardware. We know that they're diving into the whole basically we're going to allow other people to make the hardware for us, and then we're going to like put our name on it. That's what they're doing with the ROG Ally Xbox, with the Xbox ROG Ally, which is fine. But then you also have their own hardware that they're shelving because they want to like see what that market looks like before they commit fully to it, which is kind of like, it should be like a red flag. Like, are you in all the way? Or are you not all the way in? And that's the same thing when it came to like the games they were talking about. Like, we don't want to talk about Starfield being one of the 4 games, but we're not going to tell you it's not one of them. We're just going to talk about these ones that we have going on right here. Because I don't think until recently, earlier this year, even Xbox knew what was really going on with the platform. I think it was all a fluent conversation. I still think Phil Spencer was, I do think Forte. He was, go ahead.
You know.
Oh.
You know and I know.
Yeah.
We know for a fact they knew where this platform was going as of April and May of 2024.
Oh yeah, they just didn't want to believe it.
They knew
where it was going.
They didn't want, not the community, the leadership.
No, they didn't want the community to know where. They knew.
They didn't get into really telling the community the truth of what they were doing until like the fall of 2024.
Oh, I know. In January, when
they still not being forthcoming.
Listen, when Phil Spencer came out and they asked him why is Starfield going to other platforms, and this was like a year after the business update from the year before, 2023. When he said that in 2024, he said, mark his words, he said, why would I keep experiences like that from other people to enjoy? We're not here to gatekeep those experiences. We're here to like celebrate them. And if those things make sense on those platforms, then we're gonna execute. And when he said something like that, I was like, bro, I said Phil Spencer officially, like the marching orders have already been there, but he can officially tell people what they are now, because that is a complete departure from saying, oh, we're only going to talk about these 4, to literally telling people like, oh, why would we keep a game like that out of other people's hands? And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is really where we're going now. But like, once again, SloMo, when we did the podcast after the business update, we said, this is the direction they're going in then, because they weren't committing to anything, or they just weren't, I won't even say they weren't committing. They just weren't telling people exactly what the plan was. The fact that a lot of these games were already coming out on other platforms, they already had games in development, like Hellblade 2 is coming to PlayStation at a point in the future. They didn't just start working on that. They've been working on that probably for a while. You know, Outer Worlds 2, same thing, coming into PlayStation. At least they had the nerve to put that in the trailer when they did the announcement for it. They actually showed you it was coming to PlayStation day and date. Well, not day and date. They just showed you that it was coming to PlayStation. But
it was initially revealed to be a console exclusive.
A console exclusive,
when they first showed it. Much like a game that, like, from a studio that I mentioned earlier with Night School Studio, when they did the sequel to Oxenfree 2, when they first showed that, when they showed the sequel to Oxenfree 2, that was coming to Xbox. It was coming to all platforms, and then they got bought by Netflix, and then Xbox got dropped. Because Netflix looked at it and was like, "Why put it here?" Yeah, doesn't seem like a priority to us.
Yeah, priorities just change, bro.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying They. No, I said I just think in general there was a lot of different things that they wanted to do differently, but ever since it's like they sold one thing to basically keep the platform afloat. And granted, I'm happy to still have an Xbox brand because that's my favorite brand. I mean, it was the only thing that really got me off PlayStation, because as much as people say, says, oh, I don't like PlayStation, this and that, blah, blah, blah. If you're like of our age, SloMo, me, you, and a lot of other people that's in the chat right now, you rocked with PlayStation at some point because you either grew out of Nintendo, Sega disappeared. So what were you doing? Not playing games? Because PlayStation was it. So for PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, I was all locked in until the Xbox came out, and they came out with a game, an exclusive game, which is really interesting compared to the conversation we're having where they are now. It's what flipped a lot of people's opinion onto wanting to be something in something like Xbox. So everybody was a fan, just like, you know, we all know people grew up, either you was a Nintendo fan or a Sega fan, you was one of the two, or you know, Neo Geo, you know, more niche, you had the money, but ultimately it came down to like a preferred platform, you rocked with it, and then a lot of people migrated to PlayStation because guess what? They didn't just sell 164 million consoles when it came to the PlayStation 2 because of games. They sold it for DVD players and everything else. So it's just the simple fact that people rocked with PlayStation. But people also decided to flock over to Xbox because they liked the more mature offerings that the console had. They loved the multiplayer. They loved all the things Xbox did. Put the Ethernet cable on the back of the system so you didn't have to buy a network adapter separately for your PlayStation to make it work. These are all things that were great about Xbox. It was identified differently from every other console. And it over the course of one generation, SloMo, they blew it all up. They blew it up. And then they had to save it. And I'll give them credit. I'll give Phil Spencer credit for saving it because I think it was gone. I think it was on death's door and they pulled it away from the abyss. But while they did that, they had to sacrifice what they were as a platform by convincing their players that they, you know, how do we get people to play our games? You know why you had to convince people to buy your games? Because you didn't have no first party titles. You had Kid Smooth came out with that song, and that's because that's the only games they had. Halo, Forza. They didn't have Fable because they closed Lionhead Studios. At that, it's like they had to buy Gears of War because it was a rumor that Epic was about to bring out Gears of War on PlayStation. So they had to buy Gears of War. They lost Bungie in 2011. They let them walk out the door. So then they had to create 343. So they were already like fighting a fight that they couldn't win at that point. And then they had to dive into something like Game Pass to say, hey, we're going to put all our first party titles in there. We're going to build a library for you to play all your games. And that taught people that, hey, if it's not in Game Pass, I don't want to buy it. And then you supported that over the course of the whole generation. And then you expected people, when you started buying all these studios, and you started putting the moniker in Game Pass day and date, making marketing deals for Outriders to be in Game Pass day and date. As much as that stuff was great and we all loved it if we were subscribers to Game Pass, all it did was hurt the experience of Xbox because people just didn't buy games. And now you're seeing what's happening on the opposite side with other developers that they don't want to be in Game Pass. And if they can't be in Game Pass, they feel like their game's not going to succeed or people's not going to play it. So then they're coming up with reasons why they don't want to put their games on Xbox. Or, like I said earlier, is the juice even worth the squeeze? Because are they even going to support the game? And that's the double-edged sword that we're living in right now.
You know, not to beat the dead horse, but since while we're dispelling delusions that people were having around these platforms where they just buy everything that executives say, hook, line, and sinker. You know, just never questioning, never looking at the tea leaves, never looking at the bigger picture. Do not be surprised. Like that, the whole thing with the Xbox Ally and that the next under the TV Xbox device that they're calling an Xbox, but is going to be a small form factor PC. Yeah, that thing too. These devices are PC platform devices, and they told you your games are going to come with you. Do not be surprised if you just don't get all your games. And don't think that is like oh, we have to do this. I'm not saying that as of right now it's not happening in to a large degree, but if they gotta sacrifice your library in order to get to satisfy their goals about converting their community over to a PC platform, sacrifice your library, they will.
I agree.
So yeah, let's get up out of here, bro. Anything you want to say to these? Anything you want to? You want to?
You love the Demolition Man, bro. Kill. MDK. Murder kill. I just watched that movie the other day, man. It was one of those movies that just popped up on the screen, and we was cycling through movies, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this. So good. No, man. Everybody, man. Really appreciate all you guys through. Great stream as always, as SloMo always does. He always kills it. Just be on the lookout for everything, man. It's going to be, gaming is weird right now. You know, the funny thing is there's a lot of good games out here to play. There's a lot of good experiences out here to go play. But the thing is it enticing enough for you to want to play it? Are you one of those people that's stuck in, like, you know, that mode where you're playing something super consistent and you don't know if you know, are interested in anything? I will say break out of that. Like, I will say, as much as I gave Death Stranding a bunch of crap, that is probably that streaming. That's why I want to do it again. And I'm not going to commit to what day that's going to be, because SloMo's going to be like, yeah, whatever, bro. But he's probably right about that. But the thing I will say, that's one of the best streams I had, and that's because I had like experiences in that game I had, because I did it with you guys with SloMo there, and I had fun doing it. So if I can,
I was told I can't. They don't want me there.
No, they don't. No well, more. See, well, listen, they don't want you there no more. Forte seemed like he was actually playing the game better once you left. which to an extent into what they're actually right, because we was dogging the game the whole time, and I'm not even paying attention to the thing.
I wasn't dogging the game. All I was saying was
I was dogging the game, because everywhere I looked, I saw cars that I could. I was like, what is this? And where's my detail? Why am I doing this by myself? Don't tell me I'm the only freaking person that works for Bridges. I'm not the only person that works for Bridges, am I? Can I get other people to help me with this? Crazy. Game is wild, bro. But we're definitely gonna get back into that. But great SloMo show as always, bro. And looking forward to next week. Check us out. IOP this weekend to be on there with the homies and stuff. So it's gonna be a great time. You know, King is gonna probably go crazy about how PlayStation's making games for Xbox, because they actually spelled it out. So I'm definitely looking forward to that conversation. But what about you, SloMo?
I'm gonna try to finish Dark Deity 2 this weekend. I'm pretty busy tomorrow. I got a wedding to go to. I got a birthday party to go to after that. It's gonna be a pretty busy day, so I probably ain't not gonna do any gaming tomorrow. But Sunday, maybe I can get that done, or maybe I'll even stream some of it. I don't know. We'll see. But other than that, you know, The same old as usual. We'll be back next Thursday, or try to be back next Thursday. I know that we, this is Friday, so we did miss our usual time, but we want to get back to doing that, of course. So Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Expect to see DPS back at that time period, and hope
sir.
you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And take the knee pads off.
They hurt sometimes.
Except what the truth is. That's all. All right, we're out. Peace.
He said take the knee pads off. Knee pads